All right, welcome everyone to this live stream. And this is going to be a webinar on the ebook that I'm writing this year called Mastering the Money Game. And here you can see the diagram that shows the basic structure of the money game, because making money and saving money and growing money, it's really a game. But I decided to write this book because so many people do not understand that money making is really a game. And if you understand the four levels of the game, in the same way that there are four levels or there are levels in any video game, then you're going to be able to have fun while you're playing this game of money making. And it's really a game because, unfortunately, at school, um, through our teachers or through our parents who are middle class or working class, we never learned how to play this game. And so I decided to write this book to help people to see very clearly what exactly is the game and how they can play the game so that they can win. Now, it doesn't matter really where you are in the game. The only thing that matters is that you always um, go upward, right? So the only thing that matters is, if you're here, you're learning, uh, let's say, how to do stuff. You're picking up new skills. Even if you're here at the beginning, you just have to go higher. You perform in a job, in a career. You perform, for example, as a freelancer, and you just go up and you save money, and ultimately you learn how to place your money, how to buy assets, so that your money works for you. So this is the level where you want to be. And when you get to a point where your money works for you, in other words, you generate dividends or you have capital gains, and the dividends, the passive income, covers your living expenses, then you become financially free. Financially free means that you don't have to work for a living. You can work if you want to, if you enjoy the work, if you like to hang around with people, etc. But here, that's the goal that I want for you. You become financially free, and so you have freedom. Financial freedom is very important because we only live once, right? So you want to live life the way that you want to live. You want to spend time with people that you want to spend time with, and so it's very important to achieve financial freedom. That's the goal. The goal is not necessarily to become like a millionaire, although that is very, very possible, or even become a billionaire. That is possible, although it's much less likely. So the goal is financial freedom, not necessarily, to become a millionaire or billionaire. But you could, it's more feasible than ever. Like, before the invention of the internet, to become a billionaire would be like almost impossible because of a distribution problem. So I'm just going to put here so that we can talk about it later. But now that the internet is here, you can distribute, especially digital products, but you can also distribute physical products all over the world. And AI can translate your digital products, your marketing, your sales into different languages. AI can do that for you. And so it's easier than ever to do distribution. But before you get to that point where you become a millionaire or a billionaire, or you have a net worth of millions of dollars, you have to play the game. You have to start at the bottom, and hopefully, this diagram can show you or give you hope. Hope in the sense that you can see quite clearly that it is possible for you to start over here, but you can always go higher. Like, you perform in the marketplace, and that's when you're in the green zone. And when you perform, I'll teach you how to perform, how to achieve excellence at whatever you're doing, like really excellence. Then you're going to make a lot of money, and that allows you to save money. So the savings part here is more psychological than anything. Savings doesn't require intellectual capacity. It requires like emotional stability. You have to know who you are and not spend money on stuff that you don't need. So that's what savings is all about. Savings is really, in many ways, it's the easiest thing in the world. It's the easiest level of this money making game, because you don't have to do anything. You just have to stop spending. Okay, don't spend on stuff you don't need, and manage your budget. Exercise self-control so that you're not influenced by the influencers and advertisers out there. And one phrase that I really like, I came across, and actually I applied that phrase 2 days ago. I'm going to share that phrase with you because it's really it's quite memorable, because I was shopping for a power bank on Amazon, and I saw this power bank that normally sells for over, I think, $140, but there was a special minus 80%, and it's selling for only $40. And so I was really tempted to buy this, but I already have a power bank. Okay, I don't need it, even though the discount was 80%. So I had to exercise emotional control, and I had to remember this phrase that I saw years ago: a bargain is something you don't need at a price you can't resist. So you see, like, even someone who has a lot of self-control like myself, I was really tempted. I actually thought about it for a few minutes because I had a discount of 80%. I think that was because of Black Friday, and I could get this power bank for only $40. But this is crazy, like $40, I can do a lot with $40. So this goes to show that, no matter what your level is, you always have to remember that, forget about bargains. The question is, do you need it? If you don't need it, even if somebody sells it to you for $2, just don't spend the $2, keep it, and it becomes a reflex. So long story short, savings here, the game of savings, the game of personal management, personal finances, it's really about exercising emotional control. So let me just put here what you really have to master at each of these 4 levels of the game. There's only 4 levels of the game, by the way. There's no other levels, right? So here it's more about emotional stability. It's more about psychological self-control. There are many immigrants, including my parents. They didn't make a lot of money when we came to Canada, and yet they were very mature emotionally, probably because they had 8 kids, and so they saved a lot of money. They bought houses, and even with 8 kids and starting with $0. So my parents have shown us kids that you don't have to be brilliant or talented to make a lot of money and buy a house. You just have to have emotional stability. And so that's the game. Here the game is different. At the green level, the game is about creativity. It's about being aggressive in the good sense of the word, like aggressive in the sense that you got to go out there and promote your stuff. Like if your products or your skills or your services are valuable, if your products are valuable and can make a difference in the world, you got to be aggressive. Like, don't be shy. Tai Lopez was writing in a post on Facebook. He was telling men, like, don't be shy. It's effeminate. It's true that if you're shy, if you're timid, you're like a girl. Okay, you're effeminate. Nothing against girls and women, by the way, but a man has to be a man. You got to be creative. You got to be out there. You got to promote your stuff. If your stuff is good, by the way, if your skills, your human capital, your experience, your personality, your energy, your talent, if all of that is good and you can make a difference in the world, then you owe it to yourself to go out there and speak up. Okay? Because if you don't speak up, nobody is going to know you exist. Nobody's going to buy from you. It doesn't matter how good you are if you don't speak up. It's really, really important. Like I see so many people, including my students in my starting a business class, where they're acting like sheep. They're following the herd. They're not proactive. They're not energetic. If you're not energetic, you're not going to make money. If you're passive, you're not going to make money. If you're afraid of taking risks, you're not going to make money. So the green zone here, this is the crux of the challenge. This is where you make money. That's why I put it in green. And so you got to be aggressive. Like I know, like, even successful people, you know, who are not aggressive online. It's like, I'm going, dude, what are you doing? You have a smartphone, you have Wi-Fi connection, you have internet service, you have, you know, a computer, a personal computer, a laptop, a tablet. Why don't you speak up? Why don't you tell the world what you have to offer? It's crazy. And I'm very blunt when I tell men. I'm maybe less blunt with women because they're more sensitive. But I'm telling men, guys, like, what are you doing? You know, you have the internet. It exists for you to broadcast your message, whatever it is, right? You got to promote your stuff. This is really, really important. If you don't promote your stuff, nobody will know that you exist, and therefore you're not going to make money. But if you worked hard to acquire the skills in the red zone here, you worked hard, because skills acquisition takes money. Okay, you worked really hard here. You spent a lot of money to acquire your digital marketing skills. I don't know, web programming, copywriting, salesmanship, whatever it is that you acquired in the red zone. Now it's your time. This is your time to make money. So promote your stuff and go out there and get the money. The money that is out there has your name on it. It has your name on it because you only make that money if you promote your skills and you grab contracts and you secure a deal with clients. So you got to promote your stuff. You got to go out there, and there's no two ways about it. AI is not going to solve the problem of people being shy, being introverted. I mean, that's really an excuse. You know, I often tell the story of how when I was running a graphic design firm, I think around the year 2000, and I had an apartment, you know, 6.5, so there was a lot of rooms, and I set up a graphic design office at home. And one day, you know, somebody knocked on the door, and I opened the door, and I saw a 12-year-old girl. Like, this girl was dressed, I think, like a scout or something, and she had a box of chocolates. And I said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Oh, hello, sir. I'm raising funds for my school activities and blah, 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 and I'm selling chocolates." And now, I was living in a poor neighborhood, you know, where there was a lot of crime and a lot of shady characters. So my first thought was, you're 12. Why are you knocking on doors like this? This is dangerous. You know, I could be a criminal. I could just grab you and kidnap you. And so, you know, I looked around, and sure enough, across the street, her devoted mother was standing there with a smile. And I, you know, I really smiled back at her. So this girl was knocking on doors, you know, meeting with perfect strangers, but her mommy was right across the street for security purposes. But it occurred to me that, you know, that she's knocking on doors and she's about 12, and she has the balls, excuse my French, to sell chocolates to raise funds for her extracurricular activity or whatever. And so I tell that story to a lot of, to all my students, you know, like, sometimes I would have male students tell me, "Oh, Peter, I don't want to sell, you know, I'm afraid of rejection, I'm afraid of failure, blah, blah, blah." And that's just an excuse, you know, like, you're a guy, okay? You're definitely stronger and more bolder than a 12-year-old girl, okay? So get yourself together and promote your stuff and go out there and sell and make money. Sure, when you sell, maybe you're going to get one client out of 20, but you're still going to get one client out of 20, you know? And so the important thing to understand is that you cannot get that one customer unless you go through 19 rejections. So you have to get used to rejection. Go out there, get rejected as much as possible, and when you get to the 20th person, you're going to get one sale, and over time your performance is going to be better. It's going to be 1 out of 15, then 1 out of 10, etc. But it's never going to be 100%, right? The sales conversion is never going to be 100%. But this is, in many ways, there's a psychological barrier here too. But just ignore it. You know, just, you know, people say no to you, you say next. And that's it. That's the nature of selling. Now, the problem with a lot of people in the middle class is that they're used to having a job, right? You show up at your job Monday morning at 9. You don't have to ask for work. Your boss is gonna give you work. He's gonna ask you to do stuff all the time. You're gonna be overworked. So getting work is not gonna be your problem. But the problem here for entrepreneurs and freelancers is that you have to go out there and get the work, get the money, and you have to do it all the time as a matter of reflex. So that's the big challenge in this phase of the game, level number 2. And like I said, level number 3 is easy. Level number 4 is when you're going to have a bit of a learning curve, because you have to learn how to invest. So for example, you have to learn, you have to learn some stuff about investing. The best book is, in my opinion, is Warren Buffett and the Interpretation. So you can start here. Just read that small book. It's very well written. It explains to you how companies make money. Like, even if you don't have money to invest right now, I guarantee you that if you make the effort to read this book, then you're gonna have the big picture, and you're gonna be motivated to acquire more skills, to promote your stuff, your services, your skills, your products, and you're gonna save money. So you have to understand that this is the game, and you're supposed to be up here, okay? You're supposed to be up here enjoying life. You don't have to work 40 hours. I mean, 40 hours per week, and then you're gonna have to work 40 years of your life. That's crazy. I quit that game like in June 2000. I quit corporate America. That's like over 25 years ago. I told myself, I'm not a sucker. I'm not gonna work hard to enrich someone else. It's crazy. It's stupid. I'm not gonna do it. And yet it's not like I was mistreated at work. I mean, I had the best boss ever. I'm gonna give her a shout out here, Danielle Corbet. She was a very great boss. She's not gonna admit it, but several times, she invited her beautiful daughter, and guess what? She told her daughter, Julie, I'm gonna go grab a coffee, and she left her daughter in the office with me. And I don't know, I think she really likes me, and she wanted to introduce her daughter to me. I can't be 100% sure, but it's obvious to me that Julie was just sitting there waiting for me to talk to her. I was such an idiot, I didn't talk to her at all. Well, I said hi, but I didn't ask her out, because I was thinking, okay, if I ask her out and during the dating phase something goes wrong, my boss might fire me. So, too much risk, So I was an idiot, I know. But anyways, my point is that I had the best boss ever, and I worked for over 12 organizations, right? And I had the best coworkers. I had the best payment, salary. I had free training, because it was a CDI, corporate training services. So it was a great training company, and I had project management training. I got other trainings, computer courses for free, and I was paid pretty good salary, 53 per year, and I had so much stuff going on, at that company. I had the respect of everyone, and I was a very good worker as usual. But in June 2000, I told myself, Peter, you're meant for better things. You're not supposed to be here. And I just quit cold turkey. I just quit. It's like jumping out of a perfectly good airplane without a parachute. So, of course, Danielle asked me, she was very concerned. She said, Peter, we want to keep you. So can you describe to me your best job, and I'll try to create it for you in our organization. So she was very good. But I told her, Danielle, I don't know why. I don't belong here. I just have to go. So I quit, and I became a freelance translator, and I was making $100 an hour as a freelance translator. So I can't say that it was easy, but at least I had my freedom. So I had professional freedom starting in June 2000. I didn't have financial freedom in the sense that I still have to work. but at least I have professional freedom in the sense that I was a free agent. I can go and work anywhere and make money in the green zone here. So professional freedom comes first usually, and after that you have financial freedom. Financial freedom is when you have enough money and you don't have to work, and that is my case right now. I mean, I don't have like billions of dollars, but I have enough money. I don't have to work anymore, and probably in the next 5 years UBI is going to kick in, and I permanently don't have to work anymore. Nobody has to work anymore when UBI is here. But we don't know about UBI. It might come, it might not come, and even when it comes, it might be just like $15,000 a year, which is not enough. It just covers your food and your rent, and that's it. So anyways, my goal after I had professional freedom in the year 2000 is to achieve financial freedom, which I have today. So it's it's pretty good. But that's not even the end of it. I want planetary freedom. Planetary freedom means that you can hop on a plane. It can be a private jet, it could be commercial, whatever, but you can hop on a plane anytime and fly away to any country. That's what I call planetary freedom. And usually, billionaires have planetary freedom, or multimillionaires, net worth of over 10 million or over 50 million, they have planetary freedom. So financial freedom is not enough. Like a lot of people, like myself, we have financial freedom, but they can't go anywhere. Like the winter is starting in Montreal right now, a bit early, but I hate the winter in Canada. So I want to be able to just hop on a plane and go to Florida, where I have a friend. He has a house in Florida. It's a big house, so he invited me once, but I couldn't go. But I want to travel to Mexico, where I have a friend, to any place that's in the south. I want to escape from the winter. So that's my goal, planetary freedom. But to achieve that goal, I have to become like a billionaire. So anyways, that's the progression. Right now, you probably don't have professional freedom. So let's talk about that. We have to start where you are. And again, there's no judgment. It doesn't matter where you are. You're like a trillionaire, because this is something that a lot of people don't understand yet. When you look at your body, when you look at your eyeballs, when you look at your arms, your brain, everything that you have, you're basically a freaking trillionaire. Excuse my French. Okay, so it doesn't matter what level of freedom you have. It doesn't matter what level of the money making game you are. You can be here in the red. You can be here. You can be here. It don't matter. Okay, you're a trillionaire. So forget about attaching your value or your worth to your net worth. That's just money. That's just a number. Okay, like I'm worth as much as Elon Musk. Because my body, my eyeballs, my brain, it's the same as Elon Musk. Okay, maybe Elon Musk has a high IQ than I have. Maybe his IQ is 160, mine is only 140. But that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But basically, we are both trillionaires. You are a trillionaire. The reason why you don't understand this is that you haven't studied biology the way that I did. Like over the last 5 million or 10 million, I forgot, years, human beings have evolved from chimpanzee to Neanderthals, etc. And we've gotten to a level of evolution now where we are able to use our brains, our senses, and create amazing things. So your brain, your body, you are a freaking trillionaire. Okay, so please be proud of yourself. The money that you make, like I don't think that Warren Buffett is richer than I am. In fact, I'm younger. I'm richer than he is biologically. But we're all trillionaires. It's just that Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they're playing the financial game, the business game, better than anybody else. And that's it. It doesn't affect your worth as a human being. Okay, so here we have different levels of freedom. Here you have no professional freedom, meaning that you could be an engineer, you could be a manager, you could be an accountant, but you have no professional freedom in the sense that you in a way you are at the mercy of your employer. At the mercy, not like in a negative sense, but you have to do what your employer, what your boss asks you to do. You don't have a lot of power, okay, because you don't have freedom. You're stuck in a position, and if you ever lose your job, you're going to be in trouble. And so that's what I mean by professional freedom. In June 2000, I had so many skills, because remember, I had become a serial skiller. I had so many skills that I wasn't at the mercy of my employer anymore. In fact, I told my employer, you know what, I'm gonna go. I can survive anywhere. I can make money anywhere. I have professional freedom. Another word for professional freedom is free agency. You can go and work as a free agent, as a freelancer, anywhere. So you're not bound to your current employer. You have the freedom. And there are many people today who have that kind of free agency. For example, if you're a middle manager, or if you're a high-level manager or vice president, you can register with several several headhunters, and they will always try to find new jobs for you, and so they are working for you in a way. They call them, what do they call them? Oh yeah, they call them ETAs, or executive talent agents. So these can be chief executive officers, they can be managers, project managers. They're gonna have headhunters. To find jobs for them. So you want to get to that level where you have professional freedom or free agency. You are powerful, okay? You're powerful, and therefore you call the shots. You can dictate the terms of employment. So, for example, starting from 2017 all the way to 2022 December, I was in this position. I was talking to Taft College, and I said, if you want me to teach, I want this, I want that. Those are my conditions. I was negotiating with my employer, Taft College, and they respected my demands. I told them, I want, $80 an hour. I want a helicopter to a non-extradition country. No, I'm just kidding. That's what criminals are doing during a hostage takeover. Anyways, I was telling Taft College, I want to teach in the evening. I want to teach this course, and I want to teach that course. I want to be paid $80 an hour. I could call the shots because I can basically go and teach anywhere. I was very much in demand, like starting in 2017. And then, in January 2023, after I played with ChatGPT for 2 weeks, I said, sayonara, I'm going, I'm not teaching anymore. So that's really professional freedom. I don't need the money anymore. So my point is that right now, you're probably at the mercy of your employer. You have to bow to your employer. You have to do what they ask you to do because you have no choice. You don't have freedom. If you lose your job, it's a catastrophe, right? You can't take care of yourself and your family anymore. So this is the level where you are, and you have to acknowledge that this is where you are in the game. Okay? So what you can do is try to achieve professional freedom, and finally, try to achieve financial freedom. That's the next level. And finally, that's what I'm trying to aim for. You have to try to have planetary freedom. But planetary freedom is not for everyone. Like if you don't like to travel, if you're kind of person who wants to live simply, and you have a frugal, I hate that word. Frugal means that you don't spend a lot of money. You're not a high maintenance person. Then financial freedom is fine. You can stay at the financial freedom phase. You're free to live your life the way that you want to live your life, and you have a frugal lifestyle. And you don't have to aim for planetary freedom. This is where you become a billionaire. And so financial freedom is fine for, a lot of people. As long as they don't have to work for a living, they're fine. They can engage in, their hobbies. They can go into sports. They can travel a little bit. They can treat themselves. But they are in control of their finances. They have freedom. They don't have to work anymore. Or if they have to work, it's going to be very minimal, like a couple of hours per week. So if you're here, you want to have professional freedom, and I achieved that in the last 25 years, so I can teach you how to do that. And essentially, you're going to have professional freedom when you have so many skills. When you're a serial skiller, you have so many skills that you can go to any employer and you can make money in so many ways. Like, for example, my skills, I can be a copywriter. Um, and if you go to the websites, the blog, I think it's Hire Super Peter Blogspot. So that was my copywriting website a while ago. I don't know if it's still let me just check if it's still active. Yeah, it's still there. So this is just a simple one-page blog where I explain my copywriting services, and you can see here, Hire Super Peter. And everyone should have a kind of brochure like that, but this is like 20 years ago. Nowadays you can probably create something that looks better visually. So anyways, I can work as a copywriter, I can work as a course developer. So I'm not teaching, I can develop college level courses. I can work as a teacher to teach those courses. I can teach on Zoom. I can work as a business consultant. I can work as a startup consultant. Startup is different from a business, because a startup is a business that is pre-revenue. It doesn't make money yet. A business consultant is someone who's helping an actual business. So I can work, in any of these roles, and like even more. I can be a calligraphy teacher. I can work as a calligraphy artist, creating calligraphy artworks for people. So, I can do all of this because I spent a lot of time in the 1990s becoming a serial skiller. I would pick up a skill, and in the 1990s, I didn't have a university degree. So that is proof positive that you don't need a degree. I just had a high school and college degree. So I learned all these skills, and that's why I'm professionally free. Like, if I ever need money, I can go back to work and I can call the shots. I have the power. Okay, I don't need money anymore. I'm beyond this level. I'm at the financial freedom level here. So the game that I'm playing right now is to be an investor, angel investor, and investing in Bitcoin. For example, yesterday I transferred money into my TFSA account. That's a tax savings financial, no, tax-free savings account, TFSA. Yeah, so in order to buy Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has a dip right now. So if you're interested in Bitcoin, this is not investment advice. I'm just telling you that Bitcoin, the price is low, and if you want to get in, now is the time to get in. So I went in, thousands of dollars to buy Bitcoin. So I'm playing this investing game. I'm also looking for startups and products that I can invest in, assets also. So I'm really playing at this level. So that's what I'm going to teach people. Also, of course, there are many things I don't know about, real estate or NASDAQ or, Standard & Poor's, many things I don't know about. Solana, that's cryptocurrencies. So, you can choose the investing game that you want to choose. But, in the book, I'm going to invite a lot of successful investors to provide advice at this level, and they're going to be able to earn a higher affiliate rate when they promote my ebook. And in fact, I will invite many people to contribute their success stories. They can do so anonymously, so they can contribute articles on how they were able to save money. Like, you can be a student, right, and be able to save a lot of money. There are many tricks and hacks. I'm going to invite people who will talk about marketing and sales, how they're able to promote their products, their services. I'm going to invite people who are teachers and who are students, who are able to acquire many skills very quickly. So, you can see that at each of these levels, there are skills and knowledge to acquire. And, to the extent that you succeed with skills acquisition here in the red, you can move on to the green, and then you move on to the savings level, and finally you get to the last level, which is investing. But as you can see, it's very simple. It's just 4 levels, and no matter where you are, you can always go up. And so the destination is to be here in the blue sky rectangle. But it's a game. You don't have to be here like tomorrow or next week. As long as you're making progress, that's fine. That's the whole game. But if you're here and you're taking courses and you're accumulating Google certifications, but you're not able to make money in the green zone, or you're not making a lot of money, well, then this is your challenge. You should focus on the green zone, right? Or maybe you're here and you're reading a lot of stuff and you're watching a lot of YouTube videos and you're joining tons of Facebook groups, but your skills are not improving, and there are ways to test yourself, by the way. Then your challenge is here. Your challenge here is to find the good teachers, to find the online courses that are affordable so that you can acquire those skills. You don't waste time. And once you have those solid skills and you test yourself and you prove to yourself that you have a liquid skill that can be useful to employers and clients, that's when you go into the marketplace and you promote yourself. Unfortunately, a lot of colleges and universities and even digital marketing programs, they're not teaching people the right skills. They're teaching only theory or academic exercises, and therefore you're not doing the right thing. Okay, so here we don't want no theory. Like, some theory is good, but not too much. No theories, no academic. Now, theory and academic exercises are good, but at some point you've got to develop a real skill. Okay, so I would say not just theories, not just academic exercises that you do in a classroom. You actually have to practice your skill and do stuff. For example, you have to build a real website. I go to ionos.ca, but you can use another register, GoDaddy, for example. You have to build a real sales funnel. You have to write sales letters. You have to create and manage real projects. So you have to do things for real and not just focus on learning the theory or do in-class exercises. And so if that is your challenge, then you have to fix that problem so that you can get to the green zone. But in the book I provide a lot of examples how you can do that, how you can convert your current training into something very practical. Sorry, there's something wrong with this thing. Yeah, so it's really not hard, and I'm very excited and happy to teach this kind of thing, because I feel that the majority of human beings are stuck maybe at this level in the green zone, where they're making money but they don't have enough money saved. They don't have enough money saved here, and so they're perpetually stuck in at this level, and they don't know how to move on to the next level. And you're stuck at this level because although you're in the green, you're making money, you're not making enough money. Okay, and therefore there's not a lot of money saved over here, and so you don't have a lot of savings, and therefore you're working, but you're just working too hard. You don't have savings, and you're never going to be able to invest money. And so it depends on where you are, and the book is so comprehensive. It's going to be like a book of hundreds of pages, providing detailed diagrams and blueprints to show you how you can go from one level to the next. Ultimately, I want you to feel, after you read a book, I want readers to feel that the sky is the limit. There's nothing that can stop you from going higher and higher, but you have to believe in yourself, and you have to invest in this ebook, which comes also with private membership to a Facebook group and a LinkedIn group where you can ask all your questions. So this ebook, this is crazy. For the remainder of this year, it's going to cost only $10, and that's $10 Canadian. So in American dollar is probably $7.50 or something like that. So it's really nothing. If you're willing to invest $10 into this ebook, I'm going to teach you everything I know, everything I've learned and excelled at in the last 30 years. And you're going to be able eventually to reach this level, like a lot of people today, where you're focusing on investing, and every day you spend time with people that you love, your parents, your children, your mistresses. No, forget about misters, okay? be loyal to your spouse. Anyways, you're going to be able to get to the blue sky zone here, and that's what I want for everyone. And I'm not just an author. I'm not trying to make money from this ebook, because $10 is nothing. It doesn't even cover my sushi lunch of $16. But I want people to pay at least $10 this year. Next year it's going to be $100. But you pay $10 and I'm going to teach you everything I know. This is the deal of the century. You want to go for it, because nowhere on the planet, nowhere online are you going to get this kind of ebook that teaches you everything so that you can achieve financial freedom. You're never going to get a better teacher than I am. Like, without being arrogant, I'm a great teacher and I'm a great coach. So once you invest $10 in your financial business education, you can ask me all the questions that you want in the Facebook group, in the LinkedIn group. I am going to help you. I'm 100% sure that I can help you. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be in the red zone here. You're trying to learn. I'm going to teach you how to learn better. I'm going to teach you what skills you should be learning. If you're in the green zone here, you're making money, I'm going to teach you how to make more money, how to increase your prices while increasing customer satisfaction. I'm going to teach you how to save money, how to create budgets, how to acquire new skills without paying money at all. And yet you can acquire new skills all the time. I'm going to teach you investing the way that I invest. There are many ways of investing, but I'm going to teach you what I know, how you can develop the mind and the mindset of an investor, and how you can track your money so that you're making more and more money without doing anything. So here we're talking about passive income that comes to you, passive income that pays for your bills without your having to do anything. So there are many ways to invest. I'm going to teach you all my secrets, and you get all of that for only $10. Now, some people might say, well, Peter, you're so rich. Why do you need $10? Well, I don't need the $10, but you need to pay $10 because that shows your commitment. A lot of people say, I wish I was rich. Some people say, I want to be rich. But the truly serious people will say, I commit to being rich. So $10 is a very small commitment, right? But it shows me that you're serious, and therefore I can spend time with you. Someone who's not willing to pay $10 to acquire this knowledge, which is worth tens of thousands of dollars, that person who doesn't want to spend dollars on herself, on himself, he is not serious, and therefore I cannot help that person. Because $10, anyone has $10. Even if you're on welfare, you have $10. You're a full-time student, you have $10. You're a retired senior, you have $10. Okay, so that's not an excuse. So you have to invest $10, but you only have like a few weeks left this year, right? If you don't invest $10 next year, this book is going to be $100, and it might not be affordable to you. Like, you might think it's too much. Still at $100, it's a great deal. But in this live stream, I just wanted to encourage you and tell you that the train is leaving, and now is a time for you to get involved in order to learn all my tricks, all my hacks, all my best practices. You're going to learn about my skills, my technology, software programs. I'm going to go all out and share with you everything that I know, and I mean everything, so that you can be well on your way to becoming financially free. Let's say worst case scenario. Okay, let's say that you find my ebook not very useful. The worst case scenario is what? You're going to lose $10. That's it. In case I don't deliver on my promise, you lose $10. That's it. But if you don't go for it, you're going to be losing tens of thousands of dollars. You're going to be losing tens of thousands of dollars, because there's no ebook like this out there. Okay? There's no better teacher of entrepreneurship and business than I am. I guarantee you that. I've been looking everything online. I am the best teacher when it comes to business, when it comes to skills acquisition. I've read over 1,000 business books. I am the best teacher that you can get in this life. A teacher for learning how to learn, a teacher for marketing and selling your stuff, a teacher for saving money. I've become a master at this money making game. I can teach you. Just give me a chance to teach you, and invest only $10, and I will teach you everything that I know. And at one point you're going to realize, oh my God, I have so much knowledge that I've gained from Super Peter that I can turn around and I can teach other people. And that is true. With everything that you're learning from me in terms of sorry, it's getting a little bit messy, but with everything that you're learning from me in terms of skills acquisition, everything you're going to learn from me in terms of marketing and selling your services and products, everything you're going to learn from me about exercising self-control and self-discipline, and for investing in Bitcoin, everything that you learn from me, you can actually turn around and you can teach other people, and you can charge good money for it. And that's why, you can be confident that what I'm teaching you is worth gold, because my knowledge is not academic knowledge, it's practical knowledge. I've done all of these things in the last 20 years. I've become excellent at it. And so when you join for only $10 and you buy this ebook, you get it. Now, the reason why I'm being so aggressive and so promotional is that I realize that, and this is my experience as a teacher, nothing happens unless the student is committed. You've got to commit at $10. If you don't want to pay $10 for all of this knowledge, I wish you good luck, but you're not going to succeed because you don't value knowledge. But if you value knowledge, and I think you do, and you invest $10, then the sky's the limit. There's no limit to how far and how high you can go once you have the foundational knowledge. But you have to get started. And most people, like I said, unfortunately, they don't know what the problem is. They might be stuck over here, or they might be stuck over here. They don't know how to do marketing, how to write their sales copy, how to be visible online. I can help you no matter what your problem is. I can help you to make more money, create more value, expand your online brand, multiply your income sources. There is so much to do in this life. Money is extremely important, and that's why we all have to learn how to master the money game. Money is happiness in areas where money makes a difference. For example, money allows you to travel, to buy designer clothes, the car that you like, the house that you like, the condo. You can treat your parents, treat your children. You can afford their university education. Money is really central to the good life. There are areas where money is totally ineffective, like if you have true friends, hopefully. Money cannot buy friendship, money cannot buy love, although it can with gold diggers. but for the large part, money cannot buy love, cannot buy loyalty, cannot buy friendship. But money can help you to become healthy. You can, eat quality food, and you can hire a personal trainer. So the idea that money doesn't buy happiness is total bullshit. Excuse my French. Like it comes from people who don't have money. Okay, so money does buy a kind of happiness, but not all kinds of happiness. It cannot buy family loyalty, it cannot buy friendship, etc. But aside from family and friends, money can basically buy anything that you want on this planet. We live on an economic planet. Doesn't matter where you go, Cuba, Vietnam, China, Philippines, Europe, you will need money. Okay, whatever you need, people will give you, but you just have to show the money. Okay, or the credit card. So money is extremely important. I think that the reason why people don't play the money game is, number one, they don't think that money is important, but money is super important. Like if you're a parent, you know this. I don't have to tell you. Money will almost guarantee the safety and security of your kids. So you gotta teach your kids how to play the money game. If you don't play the money game and you're just an employee who's working paycheck to paycheck, you don't know the money game, and there's no way you can teach your kids. I'm sorry, but you can't teach your kids. You have to be an example. You have to master the money game before you can teach your kids, right? It makes sense. But people don't play the money game because they don't think that money is important. But I'm here to tell you money is incredibly important, especially for men. If you're a man, you have to become a money master because, dude, you're not going to go anywhere if you're a man and you don't know the money game, if you don't know these 4 levels, okay? You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to be a real man. It doesn't matter what culture says today. Culture today is very effeminate. It's very geared toward women, the feminine energy. But I'm saying you should become a man. You should man up. You should summon the balls, and you have to play the money game. And it's going to be a tough game, but as a man, you want challenges. You don't want to, be passive and take orders from another man. Like I used to take orders from a boss before June 2000, 25 years ago. I said, you know what? I'm going to be my own man. I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be making money on my own. I don't need a job anymore. I can just meet clients. At the time, I was a freelancer translating from English to French. I also created a graphic design firm. I sat down with chief executive officers of startups. I negotiated with them. I closed the deal. I got the money from them. That's what you got to do as a man. You got to go out there. You got to close the deal. You don't know how to sell, I'm going to teach you. But you have to, man up, and you have to be a man. You got to learn how to make money. Like men who still rely on the employer to make money for them, they're not real men. I'm sorry, but you're not a real man. You're not complete until you can go out there and you can face a prospect who has a need for your product or service and who has a budget for it, and you close the deal. You got to close the deal, and that's the difficult part for a lot of men. Women, strangely enough, tend to be better at selling. But men, oh my God, there are so many men out there who are wimps, who are not able to sell their stuff. And that's, I'm not trying to offend people here because I used to be a wimp myself, until I learned how to sell. And in this ebook, I'm going to share, some of stories about my sales mentors. A vice president of sales, I followed him for one day. He taught me everything I needed to know about selling. And that kind of stuff I didn't learn from any sales books. But I have sales books to recommend to you. But my point is that you're not a full man unless you can become professionally free, unless you can go out there and face a prospect and close the deal. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. Okay? You're not a full man, a real man, until you can face a prospect and close the deal. And there are some movies that I recommend, Boiler Room movies like Glengarry, Coffees for Closer, movies like The Wolf. Now, the interesting thing about those movies is that the sales techniques that they're teaching is totally spot on, okay? Like, guys, I teach professional sales. I teach people how to become professional salespeople. And I'm telling you that most of the techniques that they're teaching is spot on. The only problem is that they were selling fake products or fraudulent products, right? The Wolf of Wall Street was, they were selling like penny stocks, which is a scam. Glenn Ross, they were selling, I don't know if Alec Baldwin was selling ethically, but I think so because he's selling real estate, right? That's real. Boiler Room, they were, scamming people. But that's a product problem. Their sales techniques really works, and you got to watch those movies again and again and again until you become a sales master, until you adopt the sales mindset. I'm telling you, like 95 or even 99%, but I'm going to be generous today. I would say 95% of men out there are wimps and not millionaires. And by wimps, I don't mean to insult anybody because I used to be a wimp, okay? And I'm telling you, I used to be a wimp until I met a few people who made a difference in my life. A wimp is someone who is afraid of rejection. A wimp is a guy who is a coward. Like, he's not willing to face rejection. You got to face rejection. If you're going to take care of your wife, your children, you got to stop being a wimp and you got to start thinking like a millionaire. You have to start to sell whatever you have to sell. You can even sell other people's products, like sell my courses, sell my video courses, sell my ebooks. And if the customer complains, you can say, oh, it's Peter's fault. His products is no good. So you can blame me. I don't mind. But you got to sell something. You got to sell something, and at the end of the sales conversation or sales meeting, you got to get the money, because like Ben Affleck said in Boiler Room, at the end of a conversation, either you win or the other guy wins. The prospect wins. The prospect wins when he convinces you that he has a legitimate reason for not buying your product. You win when you convince him that he should buy right now. So there's always a kind of hand-to-hand combat in a sales conversation where either you win or the other guy wins. If the prospect wins, it means that he's a better salesperson than you. He was able to convince you that he has a good reason for not buying your stuff. You should be insulted, okay? You should be insulted, because if your product is good and the price is fair, you should have convinced him that he should part with his money and get your product, which is worth 10 times his money. And so you should take it as an insult to yourself. But this is not because the prospect insulted you. You insult yourself by not preparing for the sales pitch, you know. And anyways, you know, I'm getting excited about this because so many men are very articulate. They can speak in a very articulate manner. They can write. They are intelligent. They are smart, but they are total wimps. They're not able to sell. So you know what I can do is that I can create, just to help the men, I'm going to create a Zoom session. I'm going to invite my LinkedIn connections, and they can come in and they can pitch whatever they have to sell, and I can give them advice on how they're pitching their stuff. But as far, you know, I can tell you, when I was pitching in the corporate world, I was a savage. You know, I was selling computer courses, and I was pitching to technicians and engineers like hell, and there's no way they can escape from me. I can pitch to a chief executive officer of a startup that just received $5 million. I can pitch him his future. There is no way he's going to say no to me. No way whatsoever. And so you have to develop that mindset. When you go out there, you know, purchase is not a choice. The other guy doesn't have the freedom to choose. He's going to buy your stuff, okay? You have decided he's going to buy, and he's not going to get away with anything. Like, he's going to put down his money, you're going to take his money, and you're going to serve him extremely well so that he comes back and he recommends you to his friends. That's what happened to me when I was running my graphic design firm with a friend. You got to be that tough. Otherwise, you're never going to have enough money to save. You're going to be working paycheck to paycheck like millions of Canadians and Americans. That's ridiculous. If you have a mouth, you can sell and you can be a millionaire. So let me just share with you a story that should teach you, but not a lot of people. Whoa. Yeah, let me share with you a story that not a lot of people know, but you know this guy. His name is Donald Trump. Okay, so when he was hold on, let me just erase all of this. When Donald Trump taught something very interesting. Now, it doesn't matter whether you hate Donald Trump or whether you love him. It really doesn't matter. What really matters is what you can learn from him. And obviously, he was a successful real estate developer. You can't deny that. And he became the president of the United States twice. So you can't deny that. The guy knows something that you can learn from. So when he was running the show The Apprentice, you know what he did? This is really important. The Apprentice means that he's a master and he's teaching people how to make money. So what did he do? The first episode, he set up a game where I think there was a team one of I think 3 men or 4, I forgot. And then there was team number 2, 3 women. So what was the purpose of the game? He would give both teams $200 for one team, $200 for the other team, and he says, you know, go out there and make money. So what did they do? I don't remember exactly. The show is probably on YouTube for free. But what they did was they set up a lemonade stand in New York. So, you know, they bought like cups and orange juice, lemons or whatever to create a lemonade stand in a busy New York street. And what happens was that the men were able to make, in revenues, they were able to make $400 after one day, and the women, if I remember correctly, they were able to make $800. So who's the winner? The women are the winners. Okay, and now I know what you're thinking. The women were not dressed in bikinis or anything like that. They were dressed like ordinary business women, but the way that they talk, their charm, their personality, they were able to make twice as much money as the men. Now, it doesn't mean that women always win in that kind of scenario, but in that particular episode, the women's team was winning. And so that's how Donald Trump, taught his apprentices how to make money. You take $200, you go out there, and you have one day to maximize revenue. So here, it's not too bad. They doubled their initial investment, which is not too bad. So that's one thing that you can learn from a master. Donald Trump didn't teach them anything fancy. He just gave them $200 to go out there and make money. And so, these men and these women, they're not wimps. They're able to sell to people on the street. And that's what you should be able to do. Very much like the 12-year-old girl that I talked about earlier who knocked on my door and was selling chocolates. You should be able to do that. Knock on doors and just talk to strangers. Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm raising funds for my school. Would you like to buy chocolates? That's it. That's the pitch. And it worked on me, right? So it probably worked on a lot of people in the neighborhood. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't take a lot of smarts or brilliance or even a business degree to make money. You just have to have the balls, excuse my French, or the courage to go out there and make your pitch. It's really that simple. But again, a lot of people, who haven't watched those movies, they don't understand what it takes to close a deal. They think that selling is about, pressuring someone psychologically. It's none of that. Selling is really like a game of chess where you're presenting your arguments and you're making a move in response to the other person's move. And at the end, you're going to win most of the time, There's another movie I want to share with you. I shouldn't share with you, but it's kind of like a secret technique that I learned from the actor Ralph Fiennes. And I think the movie, Strange Days. So it's a movie in the future where it's really weird. You should watch that movie. It's very interesting. Where people would wear some kind of a headset, and the headset would record everything that they're experiencing. And so, if you're robbing a bank while you're wearing that headset, then later on, when I wear that headset, which is connected to my brain, I'm able to experience exactly what you experience when you rob the bank. Okay, so it's really weird. That's probably our future. But anyways, Ralph Fiennes plays the role of a cop, and he's selling those headsets or tapes in the black market. So there's a scene, you really have to watch it. There's a scene where he meets with a lawyer, and it's to me, it's like the perfect sales pitch. Like he talks about, he would ask the lawyer, like, what do you know about this kind of headsets? And then he explains, the experience that the lawyer would be getting. You can be anything, you can be anyone, you can be a man, you can be a woman, you can have all kinds of experiences with women. And so the guy is getting really excited, and then he goes, how much is it going to cost? And right away, and this is a common answer from prospects, right? Well, what's the price? When they ask you about the price, it means that they're interested in what you have to sell. That's why they're asking about the price, right? Because price equals pain. They want to know what's the damage. And right away, Ralph Fiennes said the perfect line. No, yeah, we're going to talk about the price later on, but first let me give you a sample. And then he puts the headset on the lawyer's head, and the lawyer has the experience of being like an 18-year-old woman taking a shower completely naked. And of course, from that point on, he pulls out the headset and he charges for the cassette. So my point is that that's the perfect sales pitch. It's really funny because Ralph Fiennes, in that sales pitch, he looks like a weirdo, even like a pervert. But I'm not saying you should be a pervert or sell illegal goods. I'm just saying that you can learn from all these people, even though what they're selling is scammy, is unethical, but their sales techniques is top notch. And so watch these movies again and again until you learn how they do it, and until you adopt the mindset of a tiger. You adopt the mindset of a predator. You go out there, you're not sheep, you're not part of the herd, you're an eagle, you're not a chicken. You go out there, you stake your claim, and you close the deal. That's what you got to do to become a full man. Just to get dressed in the morning, wear a suit, nice shirt, nice tie, nice shoes. You go to the office, you sit at your desk. You're not a real man. A real man has to be like a warrior. You got to go out there and sell your stuff. You got to be visible. I know what I'm saying is very provocative, but I'm telling you, 95% of men out there, and probably 95% of the men that you know, they're wimps. They're not millionaires. They're not millionaires because they're not using the energy, the masculine energy that is within themselves. Okay? All men are both wimps and millionaires at the same time. Let me just create a new drawing just to quickly drive home that point. Because when I say that you're a wimp, when I say that most men are wimps, I'm not saying that they are only wimps. I'm saying that it's an ebook that I wrote a while ago. It's called The Wimp and the Millionaire. I'm saying that inside of us we have both personalities. We have the voice of the wimp, who's afraid of rejection, who's afraid to meet people. The wimp is afraid of public speaking. The wimp is afraid of meeting new strangers and introducing himself. And then you have the millionaire, who's going to do whatever it takes to get the money. When I say get the money, I don't mean like rob a bank. I mean you get the money from the customer and then you serve the customer so well that he's going to come back for more. That's what I mean by get the money. And so you have two personalities inside of you, and sometimes you listen to the wimp, other times you listen to the millionaire. Every time that you made a good move in your life, whether like even asking a beautiful woman out, that's a millionaire move. The wimp is afraid to ask women out. The wimp is afraid. He's not doing anything. He's always repeating the past. Oh, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. I'm too shy. I'm introverted. Peter, I can't do it. Please help me. That's the wimp talking. Okay? So you have to listen to the voice of the millionaire. You have to hang around online, or if you have millionaire friends, hang around with them, and by osmosis, you're going to learn their mindset. But you got to act like a wimp, because there is a millionaire inside of you. It's just that you don't listen to him. You just listen to the wimp. And so the good thing about YouTube and a lot of online content is that you can connect virtually with millionaires. You can connect with people like Grant Cardone. Eben Pagan is not active anymore, but I used to listen to him a lot. Connect to Brendon Burchard. Brendon Burchard and Eben Pagan are information product marketers, and they're very good. They're very articulate. They sound very ethical. Grant Cardone, he sounds a little bit pushy, but you can still get value from Grant Cardone. And of course, there's guys like Gary V. There's Lewis House. There's tons of people that you can hang around with online. And when you listen to what they're saying, and especially when you act the way that they act on screen, then you can slowly become more of a millionaire, because you see the way they behave and you do exactly what they do. And so that's important. But you have to stop listening to the wimp inside of you, who's afraid, who's not taking action, who's waiting. Like, AI is here. I don't know why people are not taking action to get into the game and create some products with AI. They're just waiting. Wait for what? UBI? Come on, guys. Stop waiting and take action. Waiting, they have excuses. They even criticize AI. My goodness. Why do you criticize the greatest technology ever invented by man? They criticize AI. They would say, oh, AI caused like one guy to commit suicide. It's really sad, but it happens. It's just one guy that commits suicide because he didn't know how to use ChatGPT, or AI does climate damage and all of that. But maybe AI is doing some kind of environmental damage, but that's way above your pay grade. Why do you concern yourself with that? That's the wimp thinking. The wimp is gonna have tons of excuses to not take action. The wimp is gonna justify why he's not taking action. The wimp is gonna blame other people. The wimp is gonna complain. The wimp is going to criticize, you know, and he does everything but take action. So if you're not taking action, and if you're not investing $10 into my ebook, you're a wimp, and you're not going to succeed. But the good news is that you can become a millionaire. You can listen to the millionaire voice, and you can do like all those successful people, and you take action, and you learn, and you move up. You know, you move up these 5 levels, and you become successful. You become free. And I guarantee you, you know, when you listen to the millionaire and you do everything right, your life is going to improve. You're going to attract more women. You're going to get the house, the car, the Bitcoin, the gold, everything, traveling. You can take care of your aging parents, take care of your children. Everything is so much easier when you learn what the money game is all about and you play the game honestly. Not like these guys, okay? You play the game honestly, you know, you will be living your dream life. So what I'm giving you here is not just business training. I'm giving you your dream life. So for $10, you get to have your dream life. That's what you're getting. Okay, it's time for my second cup of coffee. But yeah, it was very interesting, very excited. I was very excited to teach you this. And everything that I've said in this live stream is going to be part of the ebook. It's going to be very well structured. It's going to be great. I know I'm beginning to sound like Donald Trump. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. But it will be great for you if you take your business and money education. Sorry, there's a fly. If you take your education and training seriously, and if you buy this ebook, I guarantee you that your life is going to change. Not overnight, but you will see the change. You will feel the change. You will feel more powerful as a full man who has full knowledge, and you will play the game. Because perhaps for the first time, and probably for the first time in your life, someone has opened your eyes to your potential. This is your potential. Okay? You can have a net worth of over $1 million. This is your potential. But nobody has ever taught you. Your teachers, your parents, they had the best intentions, but they didn't know the truth. So they can't teach you something they don't know themselves. Your teachers can't teach you this. They're not financially free. Your parents couldn't teach you this. They were not financially free. Because trust me, if your parents were financially free, and they taught you, you wouldn't be stuck in a job right now. Like today, we're Friday, you know, and it's around 6 o'clock. But you have a nice weekend. But next Monday, if you have to go back to work, then you're not playing the game right. You know, you're responsible. You're paying the mortgage. You're taking care of your kids, but you're not winning. You're not winning the money game, and that's what I want to teach you. Anyways, guys, that's what I wanted to share with you today. I'm going to share more live stream, but please make an effort to buy the ebook right now. I'm going to share with you more content, but the ebook is going to come out on January 1st, 2026. But when you buy today, this year, it's going to be only $10, and you're going to get the full book on January 1st, 2026. But if you wait, it's going to cost $100. I don't change my mind. It will cost $100 Canadian. So please buy the book today for only $10. And I'll talk to you more in the next live stream.